What is up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 352, the series where I answer your questions. So if you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comments section below. We're doing a post-mortem on May 4th this week. We also have to discuss the upcoming summer sets, as well as the summer 2025 Turbo Tank, unfortunately. Some bad news there. And this episode is sponsored by Whatnot. So thank you to them and more on them and what we'll be doing there this weekend later in the video. First question from Timmy Tuto says, thoughts on LEGO throwing sets on sale after the day one buyers get them? Feels pretty gross, especially since they gave no indication of it, just spitting in the face of loyal buyers. And so LEGO did something very different than previous years for May 4th this time around, where usually all of the sales and deals start on day one. This year, a bunch of sales started like on day 3. To my knowledge, I've been a LEGO Star Wars fan my entire life. I've been around for every May 4th promotional period. I don't think they've done that before. I think every time they like start all the sales on day 1, and that's kind of it for the entire period. This time they literally swooped in on the 3rd day and they added a bunch of sets on sale, which was great. Like, more discounts is definitely not going to be a bad thing to most people, unless on day 1, like you should have done to make sure that you get the promo and get to take advantage of the other existing sales and deals, whatever, you bought everything on day 1, and now here you are on day 3, and the thing you just bought, let's say you bought an ARC 170, is now 15% off. It's only $12 or whatever of a discount, but like, come on, you were supposed to get that discount. It's part of the deal, right? It's kind of crazy. And so some people told me that if they contacted LEGO customer service, they did give them the difference in VIP points. That's still not the same as cash, but it's more than nothing, I suppose. I perhaps learned this lesson at a very young age with Target. I bought the 2006 Clone Turbo Tank with my like saved up birthday money or something, and then the week after or the day after, something like that, we went back and they were then on clearance, but they wouldn't match the clearance price, which, I mean, makes sense as an adult, but as a kid, like, oh man, I was a little bit gutted on that, got kind of ripped off. So looking at what LEGO did here, it feels like it could have been very calculated. Essentially, let's say the GWP sold out in the first 2 days, then maybe they don't run that day 3 sale to try and push more sales to sell out of the GWP. Like, if the event's going great, why put anything else on sale? Maybe the event wasn't going as well as they thought, so they put a bunch more stuff on sale that they weren't necessarily 110% planning to have go on sale. Alternatively, it could have been the plan from the very beginning, and that nothing would have changed had the GWP sold out. These sets still would have gone on sale on the 3rd day. Who knows? But the question can certainly be planted in someone's mind that this could have been a nefarious setup to like get people to buy at full price, and then if it doesn't work out, yeah, we're going to put them on sale 2 days later. This is very different, by the way, than like retailers putting things on sale 3 months after they come out and all that stuff. Everyone kind of understands that works like clockwork. Everyone knows kind of what they're signing up for when they buy a set on day 1 versus buying a set 6 months in versus buying a set near the end of its lifespan at retirement, right? So I think if LEGO is going to continue with this type of May 4th sale in the future, they should at least upfront say like, hey, we're doing multiple different days of sales and deals, and the sales and deals on different days are going to be different, right? Because for the entire history of LEGO Star Wars otherwise, the sales and deals are the same every day, and so everyone has always been able to buy their things on day 1 and know that they're getting the best thing that LEGO is going to offer, not that it's going to change on them. And so yeah, this with the Captain Rex thing a few years ago, it doesn't surprise me at all that they would do something like this. But anyway, if you did buy something on day 1 that was on sale on day 3, contact LEGO customer service. They might give you some VIP points, but yeah, I hope that LEGO doesn't do it like that again. I hope that they announce, like, they don't have to tell us what the sales are. That's certainly not their job, but to tell us that something more is going to be on sale potentially on the 3rd, 4th, 5th day, that would be nice, I suppose. Next from Andrew, continuing on the May 4th topic, says, do you think we'll ever get a Stormtrooper Jacuzzi set for the Star Wars game anniversary? And I think it's a very high possibility, given how these May 4th promos have been going, that something like that could be a great May 4th promo. You get an exclusive Stormtrooper shirtless minifig with really cool pants. I feel like something like this should be an absolute lock for 2026. It's exactly the sort of thing that these May 4th promos have been trending towards, doing something kind of really crazy. Like the Camino set was already really crazy this year, but this would be even crazier, you know, even though it's still Stormtroopers, it's just like really shirtless Stormtroopers in the bathtub. That's kind of crazy. It could happen next year. I certainly wouldn't say it's entirely super likely, but given their recent history with May 4th promos, it would make a great May 4th promo. Cash Money says, ask Unicorns, with the box art of the Plo Koon's microfighter being from an episode in the Clone Wars where we see the PLO'S gunship, do you think this hints at a Wolfpack gunship next year? I certainly don't think it's a hint towards anything in particular. Like a lot of things in LEGO Star Wars just kind of exist, and sometimes things happen later on that may kind of go with that, right? The PLO'S gunship may very well come out next summer, but I wouldn't look at that box art as someone whoever made the box going like, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, guess what's coming next year. The biggest hint, by the way, in LEGO Star Wars history was 2016's Death Star. On the box, the Millennium Falcon was there, and it had a giant light behind it that, like, really was kind of obvious, right? That was probably the biggest one. That, like, this is probably just reading into it too much if you think this is a hint, honestly. I will, though, say that the Plo Koon, it's very unlikely that they're only going to use Plo Koon for this set. I do think once we see the retirement of some of these other Jedi starfighters out there, Plo Koon's starfighter could very well come out, and you're also very right to think that PLO'S GUNSHIP could come out with this newer Plo Koon mold. It's very unlikely that they would only use it for this one microfighter, and so I do hope to see it get some continued use in the future with a couple more sets. And we got to still wait for that Coruscant Guard gunship to retire. Hopefully we'll retire at the end of this year. I feel like it's been out forever, but as soon as that retires, the door is open for the next gunship and a PLO'S gunship. Hopefully it'll come with some new great looking phase 2 helmets that actually can have a good looking print on top of the Wolfpack Trooper, but until that happens, that figure and that set I think isn't going to happen. So right now, if like things stay the same with Clone Troopers, very likely the next use of Plo Koon would just be a larger version of his starfighter and not the gunship. So until some other changes happen, yeah, I think it's kind of unlikely. Next up from Anakin, he says, do you think LEGO is slowly shifting to shorter shelf time for all sets across the board, less than a year, to fully cash in on FOMO? That's fear of missing out for those that don't know, like other toy companies have been doing in recent years. And I don't think this is the case. I think LEGO has actually been doing quite the opposite. As a lifelong fan, the kind of standard shelf life for a LEGO Star Wars set, and a lot of LEGO sets, is 2 years, a year and a half. So if a set comes out in August, you retire at the end of December the next year, so a year and a half. Or if the set came out in January, it'd retire at the end of the year, the very, very next year, right? So 2 full years. So it'd be a year and a half to 2 years. Now we're seeing sets go 3, 4, 5 years on shelves as normal sets. The UCS Falcon obviously being, a crazy outlier going on, year 8 here. But even like normal sets, like a Darth Vader helmet is in its 4th year. The ATT is going to be over 3 years, which is just too long in my opinion. I feel like sets shouldn't be out more than maybe 2.5 years. That's just my 2 cents on it. 2.5 years I think is plenty of time. Maybe the odd exception can be made for a Darth Vader helmet, for an X-Wing, for TIE Fighter, but I feel like a set like an ATTE should be retired and replaced with more cool clone sets, right? Or at the very least, if you're going to keep some of these builds out for as long as you are now, maybe changing up the minifigs halfway through their shelf life. If you're going to keep a set out for 5 years, like, come on, halfway through, change it up maybe. But yeah, I do not think that's happening. In fact, I would, if we did all the data analysis, I'm sure the data would point to the opposite. Are you going to see outliers every once in a while that do have particularly short shelf lives? Sure. I think another good example to give you is the anniversary sets. Some of the 20th anniversary sets only saw like 9 months of shelf life. All of the 25th anniversary sets are going to see way more shelf life than that. And so I think, yeah, clearly LEGO is getting longer shelf times, not shorter. This week's Q&A is brought to you by Whatnot, the ultimate live auction app. You can buy or sell just about anything, day or night, whether it's using their live streaming, which is honestly the most fun way to buy and sell things, or you can use their built-in marketplace. With WhatnotCon coming up this weekend, May 15th to 18th, some sellers are going to have some exclusive Whatnot comics. Turns out I'll actually be one of those sellers, as they're sending me 20 of the limited to 1,999 copies worldwide Star Wars #1 Trinity Comics exclusive by EM Gist, only available on Trinity Comics WhatnotCon shows this weekend. I'm going to be celebrating with a stream of my own on Saturday, May 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we are going to be going all out here. We've got dollar starts on a great selection of sealed 2005 Revenge of the Sith sets. I mean, look at these absolute beauties. The sealed turbo tank I think is going to be a crazy auction. We're also going to be auctioning all of these amazing Revenge of the Sith minifigs. I've got a couple of chrome stormtroopers to throw on top of that at a dollar start. We'll be doing some flash sales, and randomly throughout the stream we'll be giving away a ton of different brand new LEGO Star Wars sets that you see here in front of you. You can bookmark the stream now on my Whatnot profile, and if you haven't signed up for Whatnot yet, use my link in the description below. You'll get a $15 credit to use on your first purchase. So thank you for Whatnot for sponsoring this one. Make sure you're at WhatnotCon this weekend on the app, and I'll see you there. Let's get to our next question. Next from Lucas, some unfortunate news with this one. He says, have you seen the leaked turbo tank wheels? Not saying those would be the actual wheels in the set, but I can't say I'm surprised of the small scale, and we're going to operate under the assumption that what we're going to be looking at here is the truth and is what is coming out. Obviously, rumors are rumors, so always keep that in mind, but here's the picture of what the wheel is supposed to look like, and you can see compared to 2005, 10, and 16, it is smaller. And that surprises me. I thought the turbo tank really could not get smaller than what they did in 2016, but Lego Star Wars is going to be Lego Star Wars here and find a way to downsize another ship. And it's unfortunate because you've had some of these sets and vehicles like the ATT, where in a modern era, they can make them really, really good. And this turbo tank is not trending that way, in my opinion. Now, it could still be a very great turbo tank. Who knows, right? But with 813 pieces rumored to be, you've got 10 wheels that use a ton of pieces each, it appears. And, you know, you look at the older sets, they all use like big pieces for the wheels, so they didn't use a bunch of their part count towards the wheels. Like, that's just not going to be the case this time around. Like, that's bad. That's really bad. It does not bode well for this new turbo tank, in my opinion. So we're going to end up seeing something that's going to be smaller proportionally because it's got to match the size of the wheels, of course, right? Yeah, hopefully. I would hope. But yeah, man, those wheels, I mean, they look nice enough, I guess. Like, I don't hate them. It's just like with the piece count and the size of them, you know, you're going to run into some issues here when it comes to how this set is actually going to look. On top of the fact that it should have been a UT-AT anyway with Galactic Marines, Commander Bakara, and Ki-Adi-Mundi. How many times do I have to say that? But yeah, that wheel is certainly a disappointment to say the least. And yeah, this set is not looking good. I think it's got a price increase to $150 or $160 now too. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Somewhat related, Evan Saunders says, do you think it's possible to get another dropship the way clone sets are going? And for reference, the last Republic dropship with ATOT came out way back in 2009. And as a small aside, the ATOT has just as little screen time as the UTAT, which is kind of crazy to me. So I kind of realized that over the past like month as I've been doing different bits of research on the UTAT and like where it is and what it's doing. But anyway, I've held fairly steady on this over the years. I think a new Republic dropship is very, very unlikely. Not impossible necessarily, but very unlikely. And I think the writing is kind of on the wall with sets like the ATTE, where you had this golden opportunity to create kind of a system for it to be able to attach to your clone vehicles as they're coming out year over year here. And that ATTE doesn't seem to have anything that would make me think that that handle is made to attach to a dropship. And I think when this turbo tank comes out, if it even has a handle at the piece count that it's at, honestly, it probably will not have a handle. I would just bet against it at this point. If it even has a handle, does the handle look like or have anything that would make you think that it's going to attach to a dropship? And I think the answer that we're going to see is going to be no, because I just don't see it coming. Like, that's just my opinion. If it does, that obviously changes the equation a lot, but I think that turbo tank will give you a pretty good answer here. And in my opinion, it very likely will be no, as much as I hate to be a downer on this particular topic, because the dropship would be a very cool thing to see a modern rendition of, or would it? I don't know. Who knows how bad they could butcher the build or downsize it, right? But, you know, it would be interesting to see a modern take on it regardless. The old one definitely has its flaws, but yeah, I don't see it as very likely. Accelerated says, what do you think of the new June and August wave sets? Are they worth buying even with their insane price? By the way, all right, we'll start with this one. The one with perhaps the most insane price. It's available for pre-order right now. Link in the description below. Affiliate link to Amazon. The STAP with B1 Battle Droid. This set at $140. Look, if you're going to pre-order it, use my affiliate link. But like, man, it was rumored to be 100. It was, and then it was rumored to be 130, and now its official price is 140. That's a tough pill to swallow. That is rough. Yeah. Speaking of insane prices, that's too much money. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I'm still hyped for it. I think it looks great. It's pretty much a perfect set. There's a little flaw in the head, I would say, with the shaping of it, but I'm really happy with the set. I just don't see how it's $140 when you don't have like a uniquely molded minifig or something that would make it, actually have to be that expensive. It looks really cool. It's a well done build, but should you buy it for $140? Probably not. So not everything's going to be one-to-one here, but K2SO, 845 pieces, $90, and it is 16 inches tall. Meanwhile, the STAP is 1,088 pieces, $140, and it's only 15 inches tall. So it's not even as big as the K2SO. In one dimension, at least, it might be a little bit wider or whatever, and it does have more pieces, but I don't see how the STAP with the B1 is $50 more than the K2SO. And remember, K2SO has a very expensive to make minifig with the K2SO minifig. I'm sure that's not a cheap mold to bring back. I know it's also in the U-Wing. K2SO, there's no argument really to be had here, is going to be a more expensive by probably orders of magnitude minifig to produce than a standard Battle Droid that we see in the Battle Droid and STAP set. So I don't understand the pricing between these two sets. I think it's a great comparison to make as far as how crazy the pricing on the STAP is just off the bat. But K2SO at $90, I think is very, very fair, especially when you put it next to that B1 Battle Droid with the STAP. So when you look at those two sets, I think the K2SO is fairly priced. Pre-order link in the description below for that as well. But the Battle Droid with STAP, I would stay away from unless you're just a super mega fan that has to have it on day one. Otherwise, you're going to get a sale at some point down the line. The other 3 sets all coming on June 1st. Plo Koon's Microfighter, $15. It's probably a buy for most people because they want Plo Koon, so I wouldn't knock you for it. Darth Maul's Mech at $18. Complete stay away. Do not buy that set. Nobody should be buying that set except for me to review it and tell you not to buy it. But that, like, why? $18 is insane. It doesn't even have pupils on the Darth Maul. And then we have the new battle pack at $23. Now, battle packs at $20 were, as inflation has kind of caught up with it, probably around a fair price at this point. They saw their price increase about 4 years ago, and I really thought that price increase would be the last one for the decade. That was wrong. I'm pretty sure I made that prediction like 4 years ago that had to be the last price increase for the decade. But this new one at $23, I think people will still buy. I think it's almost worth buying for the minifigs alone. I mean, when you compare it to Plo Koon's Microfighter, you're getting 1 fig for $15. Here you're getting 4 for $23. It actually doesn't seem all that bad, It actually presents a decent value. And so I think the battle pack actually is probably a buy. Again, it's the type of thing. All of these, you can just wait for them to go on sale. You're going to get them for a lower price. But at LEGO's retail price, I mean, if you're going to buy one, sure, why not? It's $23. You're spending $3 more than you should. It's $3. Like that's a Coke at Wawa. We can live without that, I guess. So that's kind of my quick 2 cents. Oh, I guess it's 3 cents now with inflation on those sets. Martin says, is the new C-3PO keychain the best way to get the dual molded leg? How easy would it be to swap the keychain's dual molded leg for the painted one on the UCS sail barge? It'd be extremely easy. People were doing this with the Luke Skywalker minifig on the keychain that had the dual molded legs. They were taking those dual molded legs and putting them on Luke Skywalker from the mech so they could get that UCS Luke Skywalker pilot. Now, if that's something you're looking to do, I wouldn't discourage you from doing it. It is not hard to do, very easy to do. The problem I have with it is LEGO what are we nickel and diamond people for a dual molded leg on $6, right? This is a $500 set that should have had that leg piece to begin with. It feels very calculated from LEGO here, and I am seeing a trend that I do not like over the last couple of years, first with the pilot Luke and now with that C-3PO, where LEGO is clearly skimping on very expensive sets. Well, I guess in Luke's case, it wasn't an expensive set, but they're clearly skimping on sets and then releasing these kind of DLC keychains to get you to spend that $6. And I bet their profit margin on that keychain is like 500% or something. So I don't know. Like, it's not like they're making a ton of money on it, but it's just a constant nickel and diming that you see kind of in the video game industry, I guess, like Call of Duty. Like, hey, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that, whatever. And the game's not even free. Like, the sail barge ain't free, and then you still got to pay $6 more to get C-3PO's leg the way that it should have been in the $500 set. Like, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't think anyone would like that. I don't know why you would. So, yeah, dumb, stupid, and dumb, but I mean, if it's what you want to do and you've already spent the $500, what's $6 more, I guess? So go for it. Next, we've got a modern twist on a classic question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? From Stuart. He says, were you into Star Wars or LEGO first? For me, I was a fan of the Clone Wars as a kid, and I got back into LEGO when they released the Tantive set with 5. So you're a new fan. 1 year strong. Well, congratulations on 1 year. You made it. Anyway, I think I saw the movies first. I just remember watching them as a kid on like one of those little portable DVD players, and I also remember kind of separately going to KB Toys. I got the Cloud City Twin Pod Cloud Car. That was my very first set that I bought there. I cannot imagine that I would have picked that stupid little set. I love it. It is a stupid little set without having been predisposed to liking the Star Wars movies and having watched the Star Wars movies. I don't remember 1,000% in my head that I watched the movies and then went and bought this set or whatever because I was 4 or 5 years old. It was 2002, I think, maybe 2003. There's no way that could have happened the other way around. There's no way I bought that pod car and then I was like, man, I'm going to watch Star Wars now. It had to happen the other way around. So I think I liked Star Wars first just by happenstance of watching the movies first. I don't know who introduced me to it, whatever the case may be, but I think I watched the movies and then I bought the sets and the rest is history. I probably should have put this question with the keychain question, but Yordi says, bro, will the Django playscale be the same as the UCS Django, in reference to the minifig, obviously, here? And I've got the UCS Django Fett minifig here with the arm printing, and I've said this before, the current rumor is that the Django in the smaller, I guess it is supposed to be $70, who knows if it'll be $170 by the time it comes out, but it's supposed to be $70 playset. It's not supposed to have arm printing, so there is supposed to be a difference, at least according to the rumors, not not me saying this, just what I've seen online, that there is supposed to be a difference between the Jango figures. This is somewhat corroborated by a GWP backpack that's out there, where it's like a drawstring bag, not really a backpack, but it's available in like New Zealand and Australia and stuff, and I need to get one. But it has a picture of the new Jango Fett on it, but the Jango Fett on there does not have arm printing. Now, this is far from confirmation that the set will not have arm printing, because we have had a similar scenario with the Captain Rex patch. So on the patch, Captain Rex didn't have any arm printing, but the Captain Rex that later came out in the Microfighter still had arm printing, right? So, we didn't actually see that happen there. But the same philosophy follows. Like, just because this bag doesn't use helmet holes on their Phase 2 clones doesn't mean that future Phase 2 clones aren't going to have the stupid helmet holes. So we'll see, basically, is still going to be the answer on that. I lean towards no arm printing just because that was the original rumor that we saw out there. I think it came from a reliable source. I don't even remember at this point. I saw it many months ago, and I've been talking about it in that same light, so we'll see what happens there. But I lean towards the minifig not being exactly the same, specifically in reference to the arm printing. Now, our last couple of questions aren't necessarily LEGO related, but they are fun ones. AJ says, who would win in a fight, 100 men or 1 gorilla? I've got to go with 100 men. There's just no way 100 people could not beat a gorilla. I don't believe that it's possible, so I'm gonna stick with the 100 men on that one. And then Veyron says, what are your thoughts on the new McDonald's chicken tenders? I've had them a couple of times. They're pretty dang good. They're better than the nuggets, probably. I don't know. Maybe not, but they're pretty good. I like tenders. I think I'm mentally talking myself out of them. Maybe they aren't pretty good. I've had, like, the first time I had them, they were really good. They were that nice and crispy on the outside. The second time, they were, like, a little bit soggy, so I didn't like them as much. So I guess we'll have to get a bigger sample size. But they were okay. Certainly the first time they were better. Maybe not quite as good as the chicken selects of old. Or they used to have, like, really good popcorn chicken back in, like, 2012. But yeah, that's all gone now. So anyway, if you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and make sure you don't miss my Whatnot stream for Whatnot Con. Join Whatnot with the link in the description below, and bookmark the show so you don't miss it with all of those dollar start Revenge of the Sith sets. It's going to be pretty insane. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.